G'day everyone, welcome into the Fantasy Take TV podcast for round 15, another live edition. I think we'll probably do some live ones for the most of the rest of the season as we can. But not much to cover this week. Obviously, we'll go over our last buy round, how we all went, MVP and the fault. Some news that has popped up. We'll talk to JD on what he's feeling about with Clary and what we even make of all that, among some other things. Trap or ticket, we're calling it the last sort of, maybe if anyone's looking for some cheap options coming out of the buys to finish their team. We'll go through a few of those, what we think of them. And then at the end, rookies, captains, and I've put together a little quiz for these two fellas to go head to head. This week I've done it mostly about this year's SuperCoach, but if we like it, might do future weeks of maybe some historical stuff or whatnot. But George, as we wait for people to come in, how are you, mate? What's been happening over the Crom loss yet?
No. Entire state is very upset at the moment about that non-decision at the Crows. And Pies fans just really happy with it for whatever reason. So that's fine. I was wondering where JD's MRO post was with Elliott's high hit to Dawson's bleeding in the mouth. It's pretty bad, but didn't want to post that one. That's all right, but pretty chill.
I'm pretty sure the internet was saturated with butthurt Crom fans, so didn't really need anything from me to add on to that one.
JD, what are you up to, mate?
What about? I mean, so I haven't opened SuperCoach for the week, but fantasy into 26 overall, which is pretty good. It was top 10 over the buy rounds,
Switching
and that
once
it's good. It just confirms that I'm not a terrible coach, and it's all Oliver's fault that I'm not top 100 in SuperCoach as well. So, yeah, that one hurt a bit.
Yeah, like add a couple of 100 points onto you right now, you'd be. Yeah, would it be 100? Would it be inside the top 100? It would be.
I have a feeling it'd be very close. Yeah, if I added a couple of 100 on, let me have a quick look. I haven't done this just because I know it's going to.
There's never any point. I did it to myself. I think it's 230 tracks outscored Walsh since I got him in, but hey, you live and you learn. That was obviously somewhat of a bad decision, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'd be firmly inside the top 100. I'd be probably closer to the top 50, but anyway.
Yeah. We might as well go through the MVP and fault. Most people may have watched our videos already, so while we wait for some more people to join in, we'll quickly go back over our scores if you don't know already. So how'd you go, George?
Just giving a link to someone in the comments about Ben Key's mid-time, but I'll go through how it went. So 2174, which was a good week for me, 3K into 1.5K. It's another year of like a no man's land rank, like not terrible, not good either. So here we are again, back to the drawing board in preseason.
Don't worry, George. I've got a ton of faith that you can make that a terrible rank by the year's end.
No, Ben Keys is the ticket. Trades this week. Traded out for Chincotta and Sicily, even though I swore I wasn't going to trade him out. And brought in Darcy Cameron, Ben Keys, and not Ivan, something Marriage. I forget the first name. So Marriage is basically dead on the bench. I saw his 17 score Sunday morning, Ben Keys mid-time article, or said he's back in the midfield. So brought him in and happy with that. Means I can keep Johnson as cover in the midfield, which I'm happy with, even though his CBAs were super low. So your team's like kind of sweating on Himmelberg and Steele every week, to be honest. And I guess Keys if he loses the role, but I think it will stay. So we'll see how that goes. MVP of the week has to go to... I'm going to give it to Ben Keys, I think, for getting 20 points in like the last 2 minutes. Very nice value pick that worked out this week. North Melbourne matchup this week. So he was very good. And fault of the week, apart from Matt Stevic, I'll give it to Humphrey. I know Humphrey's role was pretty destroyed. I genuinely thought he could be like a F7, like go with like loop him and Cheese or F6 for a while, but he's got to go now. So yeah, a role's no good, and I guess the bubble was going to burst at some point, and it did when we needed him the most. A few missed shots on goal, it didn't help. got caught holding the ball under pressure. Like, just nothing went right for him. But yeah, still giving us good service, and yeah, very bright prospect, but needed a bit more from him this week. How did you go, Jackson?
I scored 21-1-3 off just 17, so pretty big score of 17, which put me up 134 ranks to 244 overall. MVP and fold of the week. I mean, so you can kind of guess with that bigger score of 17, basically everyone did well. So I had 16 that all went 98 and above, including a couple of rookies in Seamus Mitchell and MJ. So the 17th player was Melican, who scored a 21. But honestly, it feels a little bit harsh to give him the fault of the week, just given that the ball wasn't down and the Swans backline, none of them scored good, including Lloyd. Like, just really hard. So maybe I can give fault of the week to Melbourne and their medical staff for not letting me have an 18th with Clary not playing this week, or myself for not having a better buy plan. I think those are both probably fault-worthy candidates week. And then, I mean, MVP of the week. Oh, there's so many. But I think if I had to pick one, it's going to be Will Day, because that role was absolutely insane and definitely rewarded for holding him through thick and thin. And yeah, I mean, I thought he was going to jump back and score good scores, but not a 140. And definitely didn't expect this hybrid Sicily CBA role that we saw, which is, I'm going to enjoy. Hopefully he keeps that for 2 more weeks at least. I'm going to milk that while I can. But yeah, that was nuts. So definitely Will Day gets the +3. And what about yourself? How did your week go?
Decent. Didn't outscore you boys. What did I finish in the end? 2067. So
a good score.
I did held Sicily in the end. So again, like, traded him 2 weeks ago. Obviously, probably 2 more premium scores. But my problem last week was I sort of already had all the premiums off the first 2 buys. So held him. Obviously didn't get off. Just decided to hold him again, and I've sort of set my team up where I'll just have to field a Windhager or a Chincotta for the next 2 weeks. I got Windhager in this week. That was my trade because I changed that plan. Of keeping Sicily, I went forward to Windhager. Obviously, Sheldrick would have been a bit better, but since I'm going to trade up Will Day most likely to my last premium, I wanted some cover or went for that cover play with Windhager. But even his spots, that was the idea. He might hold up the year, but even that's maybe a bit iffy at the moment. But nonetheless, my MVP, you gave to Will Day. I'll give it to Naz then, 116. After a 60 first up last week, it was a bit disappointed, but bounced back this week nicely. So, I mean, as you said, a lot of premium, pretty much they all went well. Feels like everyone that owned a premium playing this weekend, they all scored pretty well. So, I guess by default, the fault goes to Windhager for the 50. CBA's dropped quite a bit. Bit concerned maybe Hunter Clark back in 1 to 2, I think you said. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. But hopefully he just holds his spot for the year because he'll just be on my bench. So that's me. What have we got next? Some news? Anyone in the comments? Seb saying Luke Ryan's MVP of the week. Don't think we want to acknowledge that, but God, wasn't that crazy to watch?
That was illegal. You can't run back to the square 30 meters every time to get a cheap kick.
Yeah. And Henry,
he played accountable last week. It makes no sense.
I think Luke Ryan said, "Hey mate, if he's like Henry just came back in the side, right? Am I wrong in saying that?"
Yep.
Luke Ryan's gone up to him and said, "Mate, if you want to keep your spot, I'll help you. Just kick it backwards to me, please." And he did it about 15 times. They both had like 10 plus marks. But anyway, some news. I guess we start with the Clary out for this week again. And it could be more. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Went from a happy couple weeker to, he was in hospital on the drip and then for that blister. And then now it's the hammies an issue again. So it's one of the all-time smoke and mirror jobs because clearly something else is going on. But what do you do, JD, as a Clary owner? If anyone out there, I mean, there's not many of them left, especially in the top 1%. I think it's down to like 6 or 7% or something. So you've come this far. What do you do?
So with this stuff, you always just have to forget about what's happened in the past and just assess from now. So Clary is a 1 to 2 week injury. Should I hold? That's all I'm thinking about. I'm trying to push this pain aside. I'm trying not to think about the fact that both Josh Kelly and Oliver went down with the soft tissue injury in the same week, and Kelly already came back and scored a 166, and he's playing again this week, and Oliver's not playing anywhere at all. So, I mean, that alone, just trading like Kelly over Oliver is over 200 points, which is nuts. So 1 or 2 weeks should you hold? I think the answer is yes. I think the thing that people are probably then going to decide if they are holding as well is if they've got a rookie as cover, should I be trying to upgrade that to someone like a Mills or a Steele type rather than playing my rookie? To be honest, I think I value the trades more than the extra like points you'll get this week. So I'd probably rather like hold a Johnson an extra week rather than have a Steele or Mills. I don't think there's any guarantee that Steele or Mills outscores Johnson, to be honest, despite matchups. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's probably the hard thing. I feel like I'm waffling a bit because this hurts, and I really didn't want to have to talk about this. So maybe you two have a little bit more objectivity when it comes to Oliver. What should I be doing?
What's going on, George?
I don't know. It's that's the problem. It's just thinking about in SuperCoach, we've always held like 1 to 2 week injuries, especially through upgrade season. I think you kind of have to in upgrade season. But if you're not doing anything else, the more I think about it, I think he was a trade if you had the trades to do it. And I was thinking about holding Sicily, and then I thought, well, I'm going to field Weddle for like 3 weeks for him and get a 0, a 50, and a 50. I was thinking that's too many points down the drain. But now it's like, well, you're not doing anything anyway. Do you just cash him in if you've got the trades? The worst thing is, if you trade him, he'll come back and score 140 next week. I think that will really piss you off. So it's guesswork. I don't know. Is he damaged goods? He's got the sore hand as well.
How can it be sore? What has he done for 2 months? Unless he's been having a little bit too much solo time at home. I mean, how could his hand be sore?
He said that a few weeks ago, I think. Although they said that I don't know. It was announced somewhere on Twitter.
Can we move off Clary? Because I have some... I could describe a few words this news, but Elliot Yeo is out for 3 to 4 weeks with a hip.
No way. Is he actually?
Oh my God.
I'm not even going to comment.
George is just going back to last week's podcast, and you will
go out of my fantasy trades. Oh.
Can I just say, it was such an arrogant trade like I've never seen before. It was so arrogant. And look, sometimes it works against you, like Tim English. I said it was the dumbest pick to pick English off 2 soft tissue. He's pick of the year. Okay, I cop it. Look, what do you want me to say, really?
I know. Nothing. You said it all last week. Like I said, go back and watch and.
It's not just like I'm not trying to troll. I'm just saying like if you play the odds, how many times has he played 5 games in a row over the past 4 years, let alone 9 weeks or 10 weeks if you brought him in this week?
Yeah.
The chances are so low, but
he reported tightness to the front of his hip in the later stages of the game. Had an MRI, showed a bit of irritation around his hip flexor. Yeah.
Why? Like, I don't know. If you brought him in, don't be surprised. Just know that you're arrogant and you got brought back to earth.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, I don't think too many people have him, but there's some news there. I know JD has him in fantasy, so that's probably what you care about more, mate.
He scored a 98, made me 50k. It's all right.
We trade in that game.
I was already getting Doherty this week. It's just through Day rather than through MJ. It's fine. It's fine. We'll be all right. That's pretty funny.
Took is listed at 1 week. We just saw on the injury, or if you want to go to there yourself, it says 1 week. They'll be cautious. It says he's in full training, but they won't go this week against Collingwood. We'll maybe next week he's back, and then we'll see what that. I mean, their midfield right now is a bit hard to read. Like obviously, Rao's his mainstay in the centre bounces at least, but Anderson's been floating a bit more out of the midfield. Fiorini came back in and was really good, and then Flanders as well. So who knows what will go on there? Obviously, that's why Humphrey has lost pretty much all the mid-time he had for those 2 weeks, and if Tuke's back, they'll just throw another one into the mix. So who knows? But yeah, he's back in 1 week. Could be a starting pick, I guess, next year, but maybe back earlier than we thought. I guess he might be able to get into some form. Yeah, as you said there, 4 Eagles sent for scans. I don't know who else was injured, but I guess Yo is the one that matters somewhat, if at all. Whitfield's
He actually played
still
pretty
1 week.
well. His like role was so good. It was like kick-ins and CBAs.
Yeah, he was tackling a lot, eh? Yeah.
They said like he's got his power back. It was the exact same as the preseason game. He's got his power back. He looks great,
And then that happens.
falls apart. So
Yeah.
This is so funny. Oh, dear.
Unbelievable.
It's not unbelievable at all. Come on. It's not unbelievable.
No, it's not.
Not at all.
No,
Not at all.
for different reasons. I'm describing something else, not Yo getting injured. Just the situations after George's blow up last week just works too well. Jez are listed as short term. Geelong's still getting away with that until they change the rules. LDU available. So I guess we'll get to it we're calling it trap or ticket. JD wants to call it. Our next bit, we're going to talk about some cheaper premiums, but LDU guess could fit into that bracket, but I'm sure George will have something to say to anyone thinking about that there. But he is back this week in sub 500, I think. So he's there. Mullen's off injury list. George has put that here again just for a bit of hope.
half of the news I've written is my team.
Yeah. And Matt Roberts 1 to 3. So hey, if we can maybe get some cover there, if anyone's desperate for some, he could come back into the team. I guess we'll wait and see. Any other news you guys, or you've seen JD that George hasn't written there?
I didn't even. I'm sorry, I'm too busy trading at Yo. So the only other one was Matt Johnson. I saw a couple of questions about him because he came off late in that game. So apparently, just a corky, should be fine to play this week. He's tough, is what JL was saying, that type of stuff. So wouldn't worry about any of that too much.
Yeah. Trying to think of anything SuperCoach relevant. Not really. I know for us, Hopper's back and Presty's out, but doesn't affect Timmy. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, don't think I see anything else.
How far away is how far away is like JJ and stuff on the dogs list?
Doggies.
So that's the one that's going to.
Remember Richards
3 to 4.
Fair way away.
Eddie 2 to 3. So
okay.
Bailey Dale owners.
Yeah. The other one that I saw that like was surprisingly close was Hunter Clark, who's only 1 to 2 weeks away now, and so that's where Windhager was kind of came in for. So that's one I am interested if like Windhager doesn't have a good week this week if he plays, whether he's back out for Clark next.
Yep. All right, I'll quickly change this, but we'll get to trap or ticket. And I guess we'll
one of these defenders, George is going to have a field day on. All right, trap or ticket. This is my segment. So,
take it away.
A lot of the questions have been this character, player, person under 500k. Can I bring him in this week, either as a D6 or a 23rd primo, whatever it may be? And so the whole point is just to ask the boys: is this player a trap or a ticket? And when we talk about tickets, these are guys that potentially differentiate you from the competition, give you a leg up, be a little bit of point of difference, give you some points and some ranks. So
just what's the line? Is it like 95 plus average that we're looking for?
Well, I guess it's up to you for whether you think they're a trap or a ticket.
I feel like a lot of these are like very mid picks, and they're like not tickets, but they're not terrible.
Trap, ticket, or what? Or
what's the middle? What's the mid?
Yeah,
word?
What's the midpoint?
Mid.
They're okay. Yeah, but we're T alliteration here, George. We'll work.
Okay.
Maybe someone in live chat can help us out with trap, ticket, or I don't know.
Tram.
What?
I don't know.
Marketing major, by the way. Marketing major, by the way.
Actually, I did when we did creativity exercises. I did struggle a bit in those, but anyway, go on.
All right, so let's start with Harry Himmelberg, 390k, one of the cheaper ones on the list. Is he a trap or a ticket?
I feel like we're going to answer mid if there was a mid option for most of these.
I'm an owner, and I'm not happy, especially watching Ryan and Ridley going up against those two every week. Obviously, they're not going to go 140 every week, but I think I'm not even sure he does 90. So for that reason, I'm going to say trap. I don't think like terrible at his price. Like best you can get at that price in defense. But I'm going to say trap because I think there's a lot of ball to go around, and he played pretty poorly, but I think he can definitely build on his performance and do a lot better because he did 110 in this role last year. But new coach Ashton Whitfield's not playing this week because he's suspended, but they were rebounding more than Himmelberg. So I'll say trap.
And
I'll say it as well. Yeah, I won't have too much to add. George owns him, but I think he'll fluctuate a bit more than what he was doing back into last year. Different. I think the main thing's the coach. So yeah.
If I had to put a number on it, I'd say like 89.
Wow. Okay. I think I'd give him 90 line. Yeah. All right. Zeeble 468k trap or ticket. And it would probably don't need too much from yours. Is there any way you're giving him anything other than the trap status?
Funnily enough, looking down this list, he's one of the best. So, he has the possibility of being a ticket. I think more than most of these here because of what he can. Like his ceiling is quite high if they play this. If that role holds and he can junk it with the best of them, big Jay-Z. So honestly, I'll lean more towards ticket than trap. Like he's one that could actually, with low ownership now, come off the back of the buys and do 120s like he has. But George will probably agree. The trap side of him is just age and body. Like he's getting on now, and yeah, I'm sure that's what you'll say, George.
Yep, I'll say trap for that reason. I still think he can score. Worth noting, I think LDU is coming back this week. They might move Thomas down back. I did see Thomas taking a few kick-ins.
Yeah.
So you're not exactly sure on his role, but that could be a bit more ball to go around in defense.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Hall's I guess they've given up on him. I don't know. We thought we did, and then he came back in. So I don't know if he comes back in or not. But I think it's more body issues. I think he can still do 90 plus, but I'll pass. Trap.
Okay. What about his best buddy down back in Sheasel then at 460k? So similar price point. Is he also getting trap status for the same reason around Thomas, or a little bit more confident with Sheasel?
Not a ticket.
He's not a ticket, so whatever I think someone said tepid. Tepid's not bad. As a little
tepid's a great word. That's very, very nice
option. So I'll go tepid with Shees. Yeah, I trust his obviously body more than Jay-Z, young player in his first year. So that's fine with him. It's maybe the role, right? His role can change. We kind of know Jay-Z's not going anywhere, but Shees could get thrown forward at times, and playing for North, it may hurt him in periods. So they've been competitive in the last month.
Can I give you some fun Sheasel stats? So his SuperCoach scores in 6 games with Aaron Hall, it was 87, and in the 8 without, it was a 105. In those 6 games he played with Hall, he took just 2 kick-ins and I think played on from 1, where he's been averaging about 3 played on from those without him. So some interesting stats there around Sheasel, but I mean, it makes me pretty nervous if then they're moving down Taron Thomas, who could effectively do the same thing to him.
Yeah. Won't be as bad as Hall, but yeah. George?
Yeah. And Zeebel's splits were similar. So 89 average with Hall and then 108 without.
Yeah.
Are we still on Sheasel?
Yeah, you're just saying Sheasel. Tepid, the mid or whatever?
Yeah, that's what I said, yeah.
Easy.
Yep. Okay, cool. Next up, we got Sard, 440k, burnt a lot of people once. Would you be going for a second round on old Sard?
Nah. No, I don't think he's like a trap, but nah. I'll say trap because that's the game, but wouldn't want him. Wouldn't want to go near him. No.
Not trust him. He's like, his DT's like terrible every week.
Yeah.
Like gets running bounces, I suppose, but
yeah. But he does defensive stuff as well that needs to help.
His 5 round is 79. Like,
they got to get cheap somehow, George. All right. Next one on the list, and I'm gonna include it because it's on the run order. Yo at 445k. Is he a trap or a ticket, George?
Interesting.
We need another word.
Well, he can score so well, so well.
Tank,
and he's got his power back.
Yeah, tank. He's a tank.
If he does get injured, it might screw up your whole season in limited trade format, but he can score really well. So
yeah,
I think he's got ticket
that's fair.
potential, but
He
most
does, he
likely
does.
a trap.
Okay, but maybe one to consider for the start of next year. He'll be pretty cheap, I think, given the limited games played. And he should have his power back after a full preseason under his belt. So next up, we've got 200 and 478K, and there are Eno and my heroes from the week. So first, we'll start with Will Day, trap or tickets.
If this roll holds, which it won't, but he's a ticket. That was very strange. 83. He still had the most CBAs in the team, even though over the ruckman. So, he clearly just was tending nose and rolling back, playing loose. It was very strange, but he kind of juiced that second quarter. JD, he had like 60 points in that second quarter alone when they were just getting hammered.
The second quarter as well, there was a lot of kick mark. It was pretty nasty.
They were under the pump. So, look, I'll say ticket because I think that's where he fits, but maybe he's more towards just tepid. But yeah, George?
Ticket.
Yeah. Okay.
If he plays the down back a bit more, well, at least the next 2 weeks, I think the role should be pretty nice because he kind of did this role when he was out last time.
For
the full year,
kind of.
So for 2 weeks, ticket. For the rest of the year, tepid.
Yep. Okay, I think that sounds fair. And then Nasty Nas, what NWM, Nazai Wanganeen Malira, who did pretty well for you on the weekend, and now has I think a pretty good 3 or 4 round average. Of the ones we're talking about, he's got to be quite up there in terms of points he's been scoring. So 5 round average now at 101, 478K. Is he a trap or a ticket?
I think he's somewhat of a ticket. My reasoning with having Sinclair and getting him is if Sinclair's going to play more midfield, then I know Naz has really got this back line to himself, right? Obviously Wilkie and sometimes Jimmy Webster chip in here and there. But if I had to choose between Day and Naz, I'd probably go Naz. If that people might ask that question, someone has, I think, in the chat. So I'm more assured of what his role's going to be from here on out, right? He's on kick-ins. Uses the ball really well. Whereas, Day playing for Hawthorn, if he's got some mid-time, there might be some ups and downs with him, as we've already seen, owning him. So, I think it just took Naz a bit to get into the season. Now his role's secure. It's just the Sinclair factor, I guess, right? If he's down there, obviously hurts him a little bit. So, just don't know, Sinclair. I feel okay, he's finally down back. I thought that last week, and then bang, this week he's back into the guts for 65%. So, just don't know, George.
I think it's worth keeping in mind that he's a second-year player, still really, really young. So it's hard to see him just go 105 plus for the rest of the year. But the role is pretty nice. They look for him, kick-ins. And he's definitely grown into the role. So, and his only real bad game would have been when it was raining in the second half over the past probably 6
past
weeks.
5 weeks, 6 weeks,
he looks like he can do 100. It's just because he's young. I don't know if it'll fluctuate much, but I'm a fan. I think I'll say ticket.
Yeah, I think of the defenders we've got on this list so far, Day and Nas are probably the two that I'm most interested in owning. The next one, I feel foolish having it on, given that he's Yo in different colors. But Mitch Duncan at 444K, trap or ticket?
I'll just quickly say Nas, that Marvel run coming up is ridiculous. It's 7 out of the next 9. Mitch Duncan, what? No. No. He's a tank.
Okay. And then what about the Lizard Blakey at 474K?
Good to watch, not for SuperCoach.
He could go on a hot run, but I think we've clearly landed on maybe Shees if you trade him out and want to get him back in is there, but Naz or Day for me are the two that we like the most here, I think. So.
All right, there's 3 mids that I've seen names this week. So rather than trap ticket, let's just order them 1, 2, 3. So Mills at 420K, Steele at 452K, and Cripps at 457K. To be honest, all 3 of these feel like traps to me. But if people have to pick up one, my current order would be Steele, Cripps, Mills. Where are we at, boys?
Oh, man.
Steele was just so confusing as a pick. I just don't know. I can't pinpoint like why exactly he's played like this. I guess injuries are a part, but I think form is probably part of it too. Mills, I think he's like, I don't think he even wants to play midfield, to be honest. They've thrown Sheldrick in there. I think he stays in there. He was playing half forward and all the ball went in their forward line. So he scored pretty easily off that against West Coast. Cripps, I just want to put him at 3 just because I feel like it. So I'll go Steele, Mills, Cripps.
Yeah, it feels weird putting Steele at number 1 of a list, but it is Cripps and Mills he's up against. So I think he still has to be at the top. He's playing in the midfield. He's, he's out there as much as he's probably battling through some stuff.
Marvel
but
run too.
That too. He's still tackling, so you still, I think, got to, I'll go.
He just watching him, he'll play 1.5 quarters where close to really good steal, and then God knows what happens the rest. So at least he was moving better on the weekend, but he could not move well this weekend. Just who knows? So that's I don't really want any of them, to be honest, but I'm hopeful that Steele can turn it around a little bit. And so more hope than objectivity though.
Okay, I've got one in the rucks only, which is Briggs at 469k now, and that's simply because people are thinking about, do I hold Briggs and trade out like a Marshall or an English instead? So is he a trap or a ticket with this type of play?
I mean, I have to say one word, and that's ticket, because I am rolling with the big fella. I think, he's been the best rated ruckman in the league the last month or so. So, and it hasn't been against chumps either. He's done quite well.
That's
this
true.
week will be a test, of course, against the D's double attack. I wonder if GW, I mean, they don't really have other options, do they? Just be Briggsy doing the best he can. But, I mean, look, it's not really a ticket when other people have probably rolling in English where he's not going to, he's not going to gain you much. If anything, he'll probably average a rung below them. So
he could go with Marshall.
He could go with Marshall. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to get near English, but he could most definitely go near Marshall. In that sense, he's still not really a ticket, is he? Because in the sense,
I'd say he's
a lot of money.
Ticket play.
He's a ticket to other.
Money.
He's tickets to putting cash elsewhere, which is what I've done. But no, I like him. He's actually got some really good ruck craft. So we'll see how he goes.
I mean, it looks like he can do 110.
I don't think he does.
Him next year. I mean, he probably doesn't. Yeah. It's a bit of small sample of form, but who knows? I mean, ruckman take this. What is he? 23, 24. They don't come on the scene straight away, and this could be. And they clearly like him. They brought him straight in as soon as he was ready to go for Flynn, who we all thought was actually not too bad himself. So, who knows? Who knows?
Okay. Yep. All right. And then so the forwards here, we've got DCAM at 480k, tickets all round.
Yep.
He's a ticket in a sense. Yeah. Gives you a ruck cover.
Keys at 467k. Is he a trap or a ticket?
He's a trap. No. He has ticket ability. If he keeps this role, he should match, the likes of DCAM and maybe even outperform him. Cogs, I mean, what's Cogs averaging on the year? Is it 90? Not even 100?
We're going to cover him because he's in sub 500k range.
Yeah, Keys could outdo Cogs from here, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Ticket to tracksuit Keys.
Yeah.
Shout out to Henry if he's listening.
So last
he has
year,
doesn't he, George?
He does. Yep.
Very good.
Yep. I thought that was part of the strategic all out. So last year when Keys had more than 40% CBAs, he averaged 103 in SuperCoach. And when it was up over 70%, he averaged 111. And then this year in Game 3, he's had 70% or more CBAs. He's averaging 109 as well. So pretty big numbers there from Keys. I think he's definitely got ticket potential as long as he holds that midfield spot. And I think they've looked good enough with the Laird Keys Dawson combo. They haven't looked slow, which is what they were trialing with some of the other guys early in the year. So, I mean, George is in a better place to judge that than we are, but I think he probably stays there and that makes him a ticket. Cogs 499k, trap, tepid or ticket. I feel like tepid is how I felt on Cogs all year. So I'd happily put him there.
Yep. He's tepid as tepid can be. Yep.
Another one of George's boys is up next in Isaac Heaney. I Dream of Heaney. He's a 5-round average of 101, 3-round average of 107, obviously boosted by the 150 on the weekend. Is he a trap or a ticket?
We're stuck at boarding. We missed it. We missed the plane. I mean, if you wanted to even look his way, it had to be last week against West Coast, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I
You
mean,
know,
I think
but
the
now-
three that we've listed are probably better options. And then Taron Thomas, I'll throw in here at 344K, just because he's much cheaper. I think he's the cheapest of anyone we've talked about. And, you know, potential maybe he does go down back. So, Taron Thomas, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think people will be in this boat, right, George? If they had Humphrey and no money and they wanted, they can't get him up to any other forward. It's either Himmelberg or Taron Thomas, really, below. So who would you go?
Take
between those two?
Himmelberg.
Yeah.
I don't know what Thomas's role will be. I mean, North are still not very good. They've been competitive the last few weeks. Chelps, I think Thomas kicked a bag one game. He's looked all right, though. His CBA's
really
been good.
Yeah.
I think they just got to. I think something has to give with LDU coming back. It might be Thomas because he can play different roles. Not sure what his role will be, but he's looked all right. Does have a court case in the next 1 or 2 weeks, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
Kind of said that with the goal a few years ago and he got off, but there's no point speculating. I don't know. I don't know the details and whatnot. So that's just something to be aware of, I guess, because, I don't know. I don't know what else to say, but yeah. To be aware of.
All right, and then last up is Bailey Smith, who is at 457K now, but obviously he's built a bit of a fitness base since earlier on in the year, starting to play some of those games in the high 80% TOG range. Any love for him on the run home? I think the one thing to flag is that he also seemed to scale pretty well with CBAs, and the last kind of 4 weeks, last month, he's all got under 50%. So it wasn't just McRae that was suffering, it was him. But would you consider him ticket potential, or is he a trap as well?
Do you have the CBAs in front of you?
I do.
It's nothing. He got none last week.
He got 6% last week to McRae 0. Yeah.
No, I'm not going to bother then. Not going to bother. I'll say trap then.
Keys for 10K more.
We've got 80% CBAs keys, so
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it might be like 50 some weeks, but I don't know. I've been trying to research keys for a month, trying to figure out what was going on, but I think I've said enough on it previously.
Yep. All right, that's it.
Yep.
Any others? No.
No, I think so. Just to sum up then, in defense, it was Day and Nasty Nas that are probably the two standouts. In the midfield, it's Steele if you really have to. And then in the forward line, DC, Keys, both seem to be the ones that we kind of gravitated towards. Then Cogs, obviously, at the cheaper price as well. And if you have to go cheap, then Himmelberg is the pick of the sub 400K range.
Beautiful. All right, let's get to some rookies. Obviously, we might need some more information later this week, but people doing their last sort of upgrades, and we'll need some downgrades possibly. So, I mean, there's not a lot at this stage. Marriage is still there. Not many people will want to look his way, but if he ends up being the only one, you might have to. Fletcher, how did he go on the weekend? I think his first week was pretty good, and then last week was not as good. 63.53. He's there, but he's obviously a bit elevated in price. Elijah Hewitt, 140K. You got a few CBAs, I think, right, George? But trading in another West Coast player doesn't seem too nice.
They're all terrible. A whole lot of them.
They are. Then there's Sheldrick and Flanders, who are both sort of 250, but obviously they're not really downgrades. They're more cover players if you have that luxury. And yeah, wish I went Sheldrick, of course, but he could just hold now. I was really that coming off a game where you had 50-something% time on ground. I'm going, trading in a guy who's on the way out of this team, but he still might be. I mean, West Coast, a game against West Coast where you win by 170 points isn't a great
Yeah.
indication. And he was getting all his CBA's second half, right? So he didn't score as well from them. Game was done.
I think the SC was like
Quarter
plus
time.
1,000 as
Yeah,
well.
he had 110 fantasy, right, JD? So, we'll
Yep.
see. But, stayed in the team with Parker back. There's no one really, Mills in too. There's no one really with his role to come back in. McCartan plays a different role.
Yep.
We'll see.
I think he's shown enough that he has to hold his spot. It's just a matter of how many CBAs they give him.
Where he plays, yeah. What's his time on ground like?
But he's
Okay.
it's clearly his best position. Like he looked lost up front. He can play on the ball well, and then you've got others like Parker that can be pushed forward, which I know they haven't done this year because Parker's best spot's also on the ball. But I mean, I thought like Warner can go forward and be dangerous forward. Parker can go forward and be dangerous. Rowbottom's done that a bit in the past, but like there just isn't another spot for Sheldrick. So I think he continues to get like low 40 CBAs.
Yeah. Who knows? And then Flanders, yeah. I mean, I think we all did the same thing, went to Sheasel pretty late before that game and round one from Flanders. And this is a role we thought he might have. And I mean, he's had to do his time in the twos and came back in and played really well last week. So, as we said, though, a week off, who knows what happens? He probably gets shafted back to the forward line a bit more, I would imagine. But yeah, had a really good game in the weekend.
Yeah, if you need cover, it's a really hard one. I'd probably just go to 102 and get the best points on field premium.
Keep cash for your injury trade, probably.
Yeah.
Best play.
Yeah, don't want to compromise on your premium. It just feels horrible, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I've done that before, and like, why did I pay up for a rookie for?
Yeah.
So
enjoy the better premium on the way home.
I think it is kind of risky, but I think there's two things. You could hope Jackson Binns plays, who's been really close. Or you could hope Roberts comes back, who's listed as 1 to 3. It's that, or you pick a dud or a lesser premium. Like it's very, like, way up what you want to do. I know JD, I think, is in a similar position. I'd probably try and predict Binns, but if you need like a player this week, then that makes it very difficult.
I feel like we've said. I mean, JD's looking his way by Tell a lot, but it doesn't really look like it. Like he's been playing 1 and 2s for a while now.
I mean, maybe we get a debutant this week. Yeah, you never know. With
we'll see.
18 clubs back playing, so more chance of a debutant.
I don't know. I feel like the problem is that I don't necessarily trust the debutants. Like I trust Bytel as a mature age player to actually score some points, but I don't know about some of these other ones. So yeah, if you're picking, those types of rookies, I'd probably rather just hold MJ or something like that. We'll see.
Yeah, it's just
because you go like down this week, Sheldrick paying 50k, and then does that hinder you too much?
I mean, it's probably just costing me an extra trade to hold Clary. I don't know. We'll see. I'll have to have a look because it's not really great cover.
Yeah, it's not surefire, but cool. All right, we'll get to just quickly captains, and then we've got the quiz. Anyone sticking around can join in with that as well. I'll put JD and George up against each other. I got, I think, 8 questions I did. Captains, boys, looks a good week with all the teams back. There's a few good matchups. Really is the big call week to week now. It's just nailing those captains. I think I looked at all of ours because I have SuperCoach data VIP. I'm 119, I think, average of the year. Terrible. I can't remember which of you. One of you's 127, one of you's 129. I feel like JD's was the best. I think
George was 127. Sounds right.
I think I've been quite good since I had like first month was a catastrophe, but I think since then it's been like I've hit like a Sicily and stuff like that, so it's not been too bad. Yeah,
so mine's obviously down with the Took 40. And I just haven't been good, but I think the best person was 140 for the year, going strongly, which would be nice.
Yeah, I think you got stitched up with captains last year too, if I remember. I can't remember. Like it was the same order, like JD, me, you. So with
used all my luck in FPL, George. Sorry to derail, but I was like 3rd in the entire world in captains that year, which is ridiculous. So I've used them all up. What are you going to say?
So with captains, I think this is you can make up a lot of ground here because we see like it's middle of winter now. You see the inside mids kind of get to work now. So this is a chance where you can kind of zag when everyone zigs. Was the other way around? I don't know, but for example, I think it's zig and zag. Okay, never mind. You know what I mean. Really. Okay, so Dunkley was the unanimous captain last week, and it was not the right one because he went 120, whereas you had Gordon 160.
Dawson.
Dawson was so hard to predict though. Like he plays better.
Yeah,
Plays better against good teams.
Fives too.
I think he's averaging like CD points are much better against good teams. That are on, I think it was on the couch or something. But so everyone's going to probably VC Dunkley against Richmond on Thursday. Oh, it's Thursday game. That's pretty nice. So I'm trying to look at what else, like who else could go nuts this week instead of taking a Dunkley. What's he doing? 120 to 150 every week. I mean, he could always go bigger. But is this an opportunity where, okay, so the Crows boys play North, Bont plays Fremantle. He went, 180 on them last time, 170?
Missed it. Yep.
Probably, Butters against Essendon has a good record, but I'd see that more as a VC than a C. I think your Butters 5-round average is not super high, or 3 rounds like sub 110 or something. And always Petrarca is kind of always an option. He plays the Giants. So, like, or you could even go Neil against Richmond. I guess Dunkley's scoring better, so I think you'd go him. But, like, do you forgo Dunkley to do a Laird or a thing into Bont or something? Or do you even skip them and go all the way to Bont VC into, I don't know, Butters
I think
or
you're
something?
skipping Dunks to go
Petrarca.
VC a Crow boy because, I think Laird bit up on West Coast pre-buy, right? So,
Yeah.
middle of winter Laird, he likes, no sun, bit cold, bit rainy, as we know. He could really pop off at Adelaide Oval as well. I think I would lean towards Laird VC personally, but you can't
skipping
hate
Dunks.
He's the best player in the comp, ratings wise or SuperCoach points wise. However you want to say it, the last 6 weeks. So it is a bit of a mighty swerve, but without the 50, Laird's averaging 120 himself, right, or close to it. So he's really turned it around this year, and he's played like he's 3 games where he played 3 quarters. So, I think that's
he's 5 rounds 30
into Laird, or is it Laird into Bont or whoever you prefer, backup C. Dacos is always
so how mid's going against the Tigers these days?
It's not as free as it once was because we're not a complete basket case in there, but we don't tag, we don't care. We play a system. We don't ever worry about what other players and other teams get disposal wise. It's never been a concern. So Neil could have 45 and it wouldn't matter because we'll be playing our system to try and win the game. So it'd feel pretty stupid to probably avoid a Brisbane player. Where are you leaning, JD?
For me, I think the initial consideration was along the lines of what we're talking about here. So one of the Lions boys is the vice captain, Neil or Dunkley. When Dunkley's had the better form, Neil's probably got the ceiling, although, Dunkley obviously has a ceiling too. So one of those two, but Neil, knowing that he won't be given that attention, I think is pretty interesting. And then going into one of the Crom boys against North made sense, probably Laird. But I am considering Petrarca with Oliver out against GWS, given his form over the last 5-6 games. I think, continue. Well, he's less of a pod now, but I think he does continue to be an interesting option.
Yeah, he looks unstoppable at the minute in the contest. Like he's getting every ground ball and just powering away. Only thing that's always held him back has been his kicking, but
it's hard to go past Bont with his last 3 against Freo. I think is the only problem. Although his big scores came at Optus, not at Marvel, which is interesting.
Yeah, and someone did say in the chat, I know it is very, very risky, and the last game of the round.
No,
but it is against. Oh no, you'll say no. There's no point. There's so many good options, but nothing would surprise me. A Sinclair 150 would not surprise me at all. The way West Coast rolled out in their effort, he could waltz through and collect 40 touches, I think, with ease. Big Optus Stadium, but it's a C in the last game. Do you want to do that to yourself? Probably not. Owning him is probably good enough. I don't think he's 60% owned, top 1%, something like that.
No, like 90.
Is it now?
Yep.
Oh my god, it is. No, that's just
That's why it's like
How
your
bad? I mean, it's not
D5
bad.
and D6 and stuff like
It
that.
gets really boring this game, doesn't it? Post buy.
I think it's the difference between like people's like M8s and M7s and like D6s. I think
R2.
it's going to make a big difference. And yeah, like the English versus Briggs. English is like 70, Briggs is 30. Like I think it's
That's all it is.
that's where
And
you make up the
captains.
points.
That's all it is from here.
And really, the players that you've brought in cheap. It just depends on like how many injuries you've had during the year.
Yep. I think this from Josh too is true. Like Laird beats up on the bad teams more often than not, and then Dawson plays really well against the good teams. Like it's very, you can't just say that is always true, but I feel like that's more true than false. So yeah, I do feel like Laird. I just don't want to get the same thing, George. We both, said Errol last week, took Dunkley's 120 and watched that. I feel like I could do it again. Dunkley 120, watch Laird go berserk against North and kick ourselves again.
Oh, Gordon's first quarter was like 2 goals in like the first 8 minutes. I was like, oh, okay, he's going to go big. And he was getting 3 points just because I was like, the game was close for like 3 minutes. That's when he did his damage.
He's just every minute because we went up one more.
But honestly, how good is Errol? He's so fun to watch.
Crazy good. All right. We'll do the quiz now. If anyone's sticking around, you can join in. I'll tell the boys not to look at chat if thinking of their answers. But I've got 8 questions here. Might have to think of a 9th, I guess, if we're tied up. But we'll see if they can get it. What do we want to do, boys? Just buzzers, like your name, or pick. You tell me what you want your buzzer to be, and you just yell it out.
JD, you going to keep that original buzzer that you had?
I might change my buzzer option this week, actually. I did like it because it was very easy to say, very quick to say. An exclamation that people would normally use when calling out to a mate, possibly popular toy. But maybe I'll go with day this week. It can just be day.
Interesting. I'll go with keys.
All right.
So we're just going to yell it out, and then you say who you heard first.
Yep. I'll just say who I thought I heard first, and then you have to answer. I'll give you, don't just buzz in and then start thinking. You have to answer pretty quick. All right. I was sitting there today at work and just looked through. It's this year, so it's really just see how much enough you are. You can think of what's happened up to this point, round 15 in SuperCoach. We'll start with question 1. I've got to keep score as well. I'll do that on the doc. All right. Other than Tex, who are 2 other players that have scored 180 plus in a game this season? There's 5.
No way.
Wow, you boys.
I'm trying. If I had
Keys.
All right, George.
Anderson.
Yes.
I can't remember if this was one. I feel like this was a 170. I think Bond did 181.
He did that game against.
Okay.
Freo was a 180.
Who are the other ones?
Hawkins and Kerno in that same round. I think it was round 5, and then Butters.
Oh, was he 180? Okay.
Yeah. Cool. All right, George 1. JD 0. All right, question 2. Which player with defender and forward DPP has the most total points so far this season? Yep, George.
Daniel.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Do we say it? Can we say it? Do we wait for you to finish the question, or would you just chime in?
Buzz in.
Okay.
I did that because it was very close. Zeebel's only like 10 or 20 behind him.
That didn't even occur to me.
And it's Caleb Daniel, so I had to get that in. All right, question 3. Tim Kelly has the most SuperCoach points for West Coast this year. Can you name either second or third? So you have 2
total or average?
Total points.
Day.
Yep, JD.
Duggan.
Yep.
And I guess the other one is either Hunt or BJ Williams.
Yeah, it's BJ. I just I was looking through all the teams going, what's the weirdest? And it's West Coast, of course. Like Tim Kelly's clear. And I'm like, Duckett and BJ are the second and third.
That's crazy. I mean, I knew Duggan had been good and had played every game, so it was going to be up there.
True, yeah. Oh, my God. All right,
I
2 to
assume Oscar
1.
Allen's actually probably not too far behind either.
I think he might be 4.
He's played every game, hasn't he?
Let me have a look. No,
Yeah.
it's Hunt. Hunt 4 and Oscar.
Yeah, okay.
God, that's a shocking list. All right. Question, what are we up to? 4. 2-1. George is up. Besides Harry Sheasel, who has made the most money from their starting price this year? So net. JD.
Oh, I'm gonna say Ashcroft, but it feels too obvious. Is this the trap?
It's not a trap. Just say you got to answer.
Yeah, Ashcroft. Ashcroft.
No, it's wrong. George, you get a chance,
Hmm.
and you get 5 seconds. I'm not giving you too long.
Chandler?
No, it's Will Phillips.
What?
No way. No, that can't be right. That's got to be Cap.
It's not Cap.
How is that correct? Is it like as of right now and not
As
peak?
of right now, I'm not.
Maybe
I
Briggs
can't go
next
back
week.
and see. Yeah, it
Phillips is-
might be.
251k. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I think
nuts.
Briggs might overtake him in the next week or two, but yeah.
You say 251 or you mean 451?
No,
made
it's 251 plus.
Oh, what he's made, sorry, yeah.
150 to 400, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep, I thought so too. That one was for Riley. Next one, still 2 to 1. Okay, this is a bit of thinking of players that have played every game this year. Name any that sit inside the bottom 10. So you have 10 possible answers here. They have to have played every game. So
Jeez.
George.
Or 14. I was going to say Chester.
No, yeah, that was someone who's played every game this year and to be in the bottom 10 for total points. So you got a lot of options here, but they are very strange names.
McHenry. I don't think he's played 14.
Day.
Yep.
Shout out to Seb. I'm gonna go his main man, Mateus Philippou.
Yep. He is.
Yes! Is it?
He's like 6th least. I think so. It's Grimes is the least. McCreary,
Defenders
Liam
make sense.
Jones.
Has McCreary played every game?
Sub. It's a bit cheap, but he's been
Oh,
sub
okay.
before. McCarthy, Philippou, you said, Stevenson, Starcevic, Camden McIntosh, and Anthony Scott are the bottom 10, supposedly.
That's a good get.
All right, so what do we get? 2-2, I think. All right, two questions left. Of players that are 500k plus, who has the best points per minute? So 63, and it's 1.3. I'll give you the answer of what it is, but who is it?
Keys.
George?
Laird.
No.
I will go Day. I'll go his teammate Dawson then.
No, it's not either. I wonder if I should give you guys a second chance. Probably not. Nah, it's Bont. 1.3. So that's points for time on ground, obviously points per minute. So yeah, no real surprise, I guess, but it was going to be someone of the top few scorers. All right, still 2-2. Got to see who can take this out. All right, couple ownership ones to finish. Who is in the top 8 mids by average, but only in 1%? Oh, that was your JD. Sorry.
Liver?
No, he's in more than 1%. George? So mid only.
I was going to say liver. So I get top mids by average, but only 1%. I don't know. It's not DeGoey.
No,
I don't know.
I'll
Day.
Day.
Is it
Go for it.
Is it Chera?
No, it's Treloar. It's Treloar. He's averaging like 112, I think, or maybe even a little bit more. Yeah, look, he hasn't played every game, of course, but he's played most. Like I think it's 10 or 9 or 10. All right, the last one to take it out because it's still 2-2. Another ownership one. Of the players currently above 600k, sorry, there's 16. Who's the lowest owned in top 1%? So they have to be above 600k. Oh, Jesus, who was that?
That was
George. Yeah, I think so.
Chera.
Yeah, it is Chera. JD said
the
it
answer
before.
last time.
Yeah,
It's so
exactly. George wins 3-2. Well done, mate. Well done. Bit of fun there.
Good game.
GG.
They were
What
had to
surprised
think
you the
pretty
most?
hard.
The early ones probably did, to be honest, like Will Phillips and
Phillips shocked me. I would have not guessed that.
Yeah, no. I think I could have been given 10 guesses, and I don't think Phillips would have crossed my mind, to be honest.
either. Yeah, I sorted it, and then obviously Sheezer was first, and so I went, well, second's Phillips, so bloody hell. And then West Coast, I thought that was kind of funny. BJ Williams third. Come on.
Yeah, that's good.
You owned him last year.
Actually, is Chera less owned than Josh Kelly?
Overall or top 1%? I mean, no one owns him. No one does.
No, okay.
He is
His
literally
role was
no
weird.
teams.
It's like not even high CBA.
Top 1%. It's like, yeah, absolutely. It's actually less. It's like 9 teams in the top 2,000. Like, that's it. It's crazy for someone that's going 110.
Can we get some listeners to trade him in so I can be correct? Thank you. Surely Kelly's not that far behind. He's been injured, right? No one has him.
Yeah,
How can you be in the top 1% and have Josh Kelly?
People quit at the buys.
18 teams have him. I don't know why. They do.
Yeah. Man, they clearly held him and not Clary. Smart owners, very astute coaches. True believers get rewarded.
If you're in the Discord, I might post during the week if we want to do the quiz future weeks. Give me some ideas for some questions. I might do ones that are
Send them through
this year. Send them to me, not the other boys. We'll pit the other boys up against each other. George is 1-0 up. We won't have much to do in the coming weeks, so might finish off the pod with that every week. Any questions? If anyone wants to fire a couple at us before we go.
There must have been some throughout the pod that we can.
Yeah, throughout the pod, but
at.
I'll give them to people who are still here so we know they'll see the answer. But other than that, boys, that's it. Anything you want to mention or talk about this week? Not really too much for me. I'm just, waiting till Sis comes back. I'll hopefully enjoy his points and captains. I'm just going to nail the captain, which I have not been doing.
Is he down to like 8%, I think, in top 1%?
A lot, maybe even less. Top 1%.
I really like spamming LeBron James. That was peak SuperCoach.
I just would hate to trade him out now, George, after having him since the start of the year, than to see him flourish in the role that I thought he might have. Yeah, 8%. You're right. So we'll see. It's gone down. It's going down 3 actually this week. So it's gone down to 5.
Oh wow, that's
live anyway. But you never know if people stick through that. All right, keep Mitchell or Weddle. I assume this might be for like rest of the season. Upgrading with the last one.
Mitchell.
Yeah, I would have thought it was Weddle, but recency bias.
It's just like the mature bodies that can hold up a bit better for the most time anyway.
And Mitchell's use is distributor off back, where Weddle got more of his points from just doing the defensive stuff and like winning contested balls. So I don't know. Mitchell just feels like it's easier path to good scoring.
Yeah. How many trades would you need to have to remaining to consider trading Oliver after holding him all this time? I mean, if you didn't have
if I had like 4 trades and nothing else to do this week, I'd get rid of Oliver.
Oliver to English. I wonder what that does. You maybe have a fault in the
Is there any doubt in your mind that
like in his ruck line or something? And then
are you worried that like he breaks down or something?
No, I'm just worried that he doesn't come back next week either. And then like with this few weeks left, it's just so many points you're giving up.
Did we notice how underscored he was? I mean, he kicked 2 goals in the last 5 minutes, and the game was
kicked 2 junk goals. Who cares? He overscored. He shouldn't have kicked the junk goals.
Yeah, he's type kind of player. Has a big ceiling, but can drop your 80s. So
Anderson.
Yep. George, I'll let you answer this one, but what do you do with Elliot? Yeah, I mean, besides look at yourself in the mirror, I don't know. What is he? 400?
440, I think. Or you go back to the trap or ticket segment and you pick one of the guys from that.
Yeah, you'll need 30k for those guys we like. Otherwise, below.
I would delete team.
Double down and go to Duncan.
Oh, they're the same price for a reason. That's quite fitting. Libba or Parker? I'd go Libba.
Yeah.
It's actually quite. It's probably close. I mean, Libba's got the runs on the board this year. He's going really well. But for their
City's
career, mostly they're
fixture-
similar, right?
Yeah. Sydney's fixture's not that great on the run home.
I think Doggies
Yep.
is good, right?
It's all
Doggies
contending
is good,
teams,
especially
pretty much.
towards the
Yeah.
finals.
So I'd go Libba. Look, he's on the older side, but so's Parker anyway. So can't really use that. Doc or Houston's an interesting one off the bye. Have you thought about Houston yourself, JD? I know you're thinking Doc,
No,
but
no,
No.
I don't like Houston. The role's too inconsistent. He does too many things for them. He's a good player, but no.
Yeah.
I
in your
mean, what
opinion,
last 2 weeks alone, we saw a 47 into a 146.
No, I know. Yeah.
Like that is Houston to a T.
Yeah.
Doc. Yeah, don't trust Houston. Probably all Australian this year, though.
Could be if they, top two.
Because they'll load up on poor players.
They
probably.
do, yeah. Port and Collingwood. Thoughts on Marshall and Yo to track and Nash? I mean, say DCR2 now.
Is that the
That's
only
an
way you can
interesting
get
move.
cash?
Is that your way of... Interesting. I don't mind
Yeah,
it.
I think that's fine. I
I don't
guess.
mind it.
I mean,
want-
just remember that Marshall's playing West Coast this week, and he's going to drop.
Hey,
a lot of points.
BJ's third for his team. Don't disrespect.
Yeah, sure.
No, it's a nice matchup.
I think
I
just
don't
in the air
mind,
they get killed around the ground.
Can't
They
you
just
just
get killed
get...
everywhere and anywhere.
Oh, no, you can't.
Is there like a worse player? I guess like what's Marshall? He'd be like pushing 600, I think.
588.
Yeah, he's 574.
570. Yeah, it's going down. I don't mind it. Maybe there might be other options though. We'd have to see the team. Seb thinks Joey's the ticket. He always does though.
True.
Okay, JD, you're high ranked in fantasy.
Yep.
How many weeks until Jelly comes in?
When's he got a soft fixture? I'll do it. I'm not afraid. He's got Hawks Crom the next two after this week, maybe. No, he doesn't really have a good set of games in the run home. I'll have a look at maybe the last two where it's Essendon and Blues is the final two games.
Oh,
Good look at
Blues.
him
You have to get him in against the Blues. He loves them. It's interesting. I was listening to that podcast you were watching today, or listening to with Tom Green and
Oh,
I'm
how funny Tom
watching-
Green. He's
Oh, yeah.
hilarious.
The first 20 minutes was talking about cafes.
No, it's
It was
funny.
funny.
Man.
I was gonna say they like mentioned Josh Kelly does like Pilates 4 times a week or something, but like
Yeah, they
he
said
looks
he's
after
impossible to
himself. I
get
think he's
a
just
hold of
yeah. He's a big shot in Sydney.
in Sydney. Yeah.
It is strange that like for someone that works so hard that he does these injuries.
Just,
I don't
some
know.
people get unlucky with their body. They just have a type of body that's more prone. I don't know.
Mhm.
Cray and Track Clary or Butters and Libra or Libra. So,
I think McRae and Track, but if you can do Butters and Track, I'd do that.
I'm sure he'd do Butters and Track if he could, George, but that's probably just off him. Like, it must be awfully close in price, but he must be just short.
I'm going Butters and Libba. Or Butters and Kelly.
Oh.
Yeah. Over McRae and Track. I really don't like McRae
It's
with
the
zero
McRae.
CBAs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The McRae factor.
Yeah, fair. I think he'll be okay if he's starting at half forward, rolling up. I think wing is a death sentence, though.
Which is
Yep.
what he
So
does.
yeah,
well.
maybe
So
maybe you're right.
You
I
get
don't
two
know.
players
I like
with
McRae.
CBAs as opposed to one and maybe none.
It's a type of thing though where like if an injury happens to Treloar this week and then all of a sudden McRae's
he's
great for
cooking.
another month. So
Although it could be Baz JD. They've got two on the outer. Like it's too
could
many.
be. Both of
Even
them
with Dunk
performed
out,
well when
this
Treloar was
shit's
out.
still going on.
I do recall tweeting about that actually, how McRae
you
didn't
go-
score that well with everyone in the team.
Actually, Daniel might be too expensive. He's more than McRae, I think.
He's a lot. Yeah, he's a lot.
You could go
McRae's
Keys.
sub six.
and- I'd go Keys and
Keys and-
Petrarca.
Yeah, true. You could and keep cash for injury.
Would you go
trade.
Keys over McRae?
Oh, almost would. Yeah.
So
Right now.
100K. Yeah. Just a suggestion.
I think that's on the table. Ridley, I mean, we ask you every week now, JDs. He keeps pumping out good scores. Jack Kelly was back. What have you got anything left in the tank?
Goes back, scored well. I guess he's just a primo. This is like Neil
He's
and been
him.
defeated by the masses. That's it. I mean, he's just going to be good forever.
Part of it, just didn't want to
I
believe
don't
it
know
because you had him.
ball. Yeah, I mean, he was a great pick. I was a genius, just 10 weeks too early. So, yeah, I mean, pick him.
There's a way to spin it with whichever way, and
Yeah.
you were right.
No, I mean, so like, honest thoughts are, I cannot tell you what's changed to make him score better.
He's playing super well.
He is. I mean, but I didn't think he was playing that bad earlier
Before
in the
that,
year either.
yeah.
So I just can't pinpoint it, and when that's the case, I have a really hard time picking up those types of players. So it's probably someone I would avoid. But I couldn't tell you why he's scoring poorly at the start of the year. I can't tell you why he's scoring good now. So what's the real Ridley for the rest of the year? I have no idea.
Just observation. It's hard to tell, but I feel like he's taking on a bit more rebounding.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember 2021? I didn't own him at the start of the year, and that was one of the most horrible non-owns for the first month. Got a bit lucky when he.
It's like a 135 average.
Yeah,
it was nuts.
It was contested intercept after contested intercept, and I just watching him. He is taking a few more contested intercepts. Now that doesn't seem super sustainable, but I don't know if it's a confidence thing, but yeah, that's something that's like getting in bulk points.
We probably should be jumping into his stats a little bit more this year to figure out what's changed. The hard part is that like a lot of those comparison sites are like season on season. They're not 6 games to 6 games or whatever, which is where I'd really like to see the difference in the numbers. What's happening?
Theo having a tough time. Has resorted to trolling.
Keys, right?
Yeah, I think Petraka Keys looks really good here. So,
yep, Trelaw's too injury prone, unfortunately.
Lloyd and Keys is M8 or Ryan Ridley, and then Himmelberg. I think the first option.
So get Lloyd and then have Keys as M8, or get one of Ryan and Ridley and have Himmelberg as D6. So I think Keys over Himmelberg is kind of what we were discussing earlier. But I guess the question is, do you like Lloyd above a Ryan or a Ridley?
If it holds the role, Keys scores more than Himmelberg, then what Lloyd will be different between Ryan and Ridley is what I think, right? Like,
I think Lloyd's had 2 weeks where it's kind of gone against him. One, he played wing, and then 2, he had no supply.
Yeah,
I still surely they had an article on him like how he's like back to his best and whatever, and like called him a defender. That was after he played wing. So but he like starts off the bench, just doesn't feel like a great pick. And I wish I was a bit firmer on it, but I do think a few things have gone against Lloyd. So I think he's an okay pick, but I don't really want him in my team. I got him in fantasy and I regretted it.
I only just saw your EO apology for Jackson. Yeah, if you're not in the Discord, that is hilarious. Quick, any more before we head out? There's a few 5 trades, 2 upgrades left. Okay, Mitchell covers the 3.
Just looking at it now.
Upgrade Chincotta and Humphrey to Neil, Libert, Track, or Butters, and then Bytel and Mullen. Okay, this is a bit to take in.
If Mullen's named, would you go him?
I mean,
much.
Yeah, it depends on whether you need the loopholes or not, because he's straight defender, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't really make where this question is, but is it using 2 to go a super mid or like 1 to go to MJ to Keys? I'm not really sure, but I mean, 5 trades left, 2 upgrades is not looking too hot. I'll be honest.
I'd definitely pick a value pick.
Yeah, I'd go with Keys just to save you, hopefully, a trade, and then figure out from there. Can't quite really figure that out.
I like Neil out of those players that he listed.
Yep. A couple trolling again with Shuey as replacement for Yo. All right, we'll finish off with a couple. This is an interesting one for Gorn owners. Gorn to English, Witts or Darcy?
English.
You go English if you can afford it. No cash in the bank is, does suck, but
I haven't checked Luke Jackson's split. I feel like they could use him a little bit more with his form. I'm not sure though.
You just know what
But
English.
he can kind of play anywhere. Yeah.
And he's like 70%. Like it's still a lot ahead of you that won't have him. So
I think the rest will help him too.
yeah. Rest of the season, Marshall Sarong. That might be pretty close, but I'd probably just edge it Sarong.
The one with more CBAs.
Yep. I think Brett put this at the start before we started. In the top 60, so we'll try and help him out. Full primo, Day She's on steel. Bench of Shane, Ashcroft, and MJ. That's kind of nice. So you should be able to. Okay, only 5 trades. I think we said.
All I'm saying is first world problem so far, which explains the top 60.
Get Petrarca, I think.
So definitely,
it's going to be a long 9 weeks without him. It's going to suck ass.
Oh, so Ashy to track pushes Steele to the bench. I think you do that.
Yep. I think it makes sense to me.
Then you could use like 2 trades to get to Sicily or using Steele.
Yeah.
And that will leave you, 2 left? I'd do that.
And then just continue to know English.
Yep. Sicily would be a massive, enormous pod. Oh my God.
That could make up.
Yeah.
I think pushing Steele the bench is nice. It does suck he only covers 1 line. That is just the bad part, but
he still has Seamus though to cover the other 2.
It's not like he can't cover the other ones. But yeah, it's just a lot of money on the bench. But that's why he's top 60. Best D6 under 500k. Naz or Day, boys. If you had to pick, bullet to the head.
I think I actually ranked Nas above Day, but just because Day's a bit older.
Yep. Day's got injury history as well, so I think if you're running low on trades, you're forcing it, probably just Nas. But I'm happy holding Day.
Nas probably should score better. Like main guy back there.
Maybe better floor, but who knows? He might not either. He's still, as you said, a second-year player, so he could.
I think both would be okay.
Yeah. Very interesting, Archie. Sister Torano or Butters? I think you just go Butters at this point. I don't know if you traded Timmy out or.
No, you got to get Timmy, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
Timmy over.
I don't know why you don't have him, but depends what your motives are. What were you playing for leagues or something, or because literally every team around you and above you and below you, Timmy. So, he's the 5th most points in the league, SuperCoach points. So I don't know. That's your call, probably. I don't know why you don't have him, so maybe better to answer that question yourself. Butters would be nice to own too. This last one's honestly, I know Dennis has a theory that when he first got concussed, a year or 2 ago, he lost his powers, and then this concussion got rid of his powers back. So maybe it is true. It just. The head is an unknown space. I don't want to joke about it, but he's killing it ever since he's been back. So.
The wires in the brain went.
Who knows?
And he switched them back on.
Ever since like that 135 average stopped, that was the concussion that stopped that streak, and he's just And
now he's back.
Yep.
And one from Big Joey, Clary to the Goey. I don't know if he's as well, but no, Joey.
That is clearly troll.
Come on.
The Goey can score, but you can't trust that bloke.
If you want to trade Clary though, you got plenty of options. Look, if you don't have track, I'd just do it straight to him. If you wanted to
Ben Keys
get over the debacle. Plenty of options. Mids wouldn't be going to go. All right, that's it, boys. We've been long enough, even without much to talk about. We found some. Thanks for watching. Any closing comments, boys, before we jump off?
Quiz was fun.
All right. Boys want to do it again, or Jaws does at least. Send me through some questions. Send through Discord or Twitter or whatever if you have any interesting and quirky ones. I think we'll go for maybe like more historical. So maybe in the last 4 or 5 years, see if these boys can jog their brain. Don't make them too obscure if it's 4 or 5 years ago, because then they'll have no chance. But I don't know. Maybe think of some cool ones, and we'll ask them next week. All right, JD, what are you laughing at?
Oh, scrolling Twitter, and there's a lot of melting going on.
About
I can see the Godfather, Abs Magic. Yep, I can see Timmy Mitchell. I can see JS, who's Didac. He's a fantasy guy. I can see Calvin from DT Talk. Yeah, there's a lot of melting happening on Twitter at the moment. This is high entertainment.
I will be there in a few minutes.
He's in 14%, 15 of top 1%. How?
In fantasy, he's 60% of top
More?
100 and like 50% of top 1,000. He's like very highly owned.
At least if you got a finished team in fantasy, it's like, well, I've got nothing to do
Yeah,
this week
fantasy's
anyway.
easy
So
to deal with, but
I still
I
wouldn't have done it though.
have to hold a rookie for one more week now. It was going to be from next week on. It didn't matter, but that's fine. He just goes to Doherty this week. It's not really an issue.
thanks for joining us, guys. We will catch you next week for round 16 and another quiz, so George can extend his lead. But until then, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.